It's less than 50 kilometers from the coast, depending on where you live in Merida. Accommodations and just cost of living, very low, very affordable. There's just so many things to do, right? So many things to do here. You just have to take that initiative instead of waiting and hoping for somebody to start something. Hey guys, welcome back. All right, so for those watching me for the very first time, welcome. My name is Adiola and I am a Nigerian living here in Merida, Yucatan, Mexico. Today's video will be about the pros of living here in Merida. So I have about 10 points that I've already prepared here. And in another video, I will do the cons of living here. So I wanted to keep my videos short. So this particular video will be about the pros, right? So the benefits of living here in Merida, Yucatan. Let's go. Okay, so according to this article that I found online, it says that as of 2024, the population of Merida and like its surrounding cities is about 1.2 million people. So 1,200,000 people as of 2024, and that number has risen by over 1% from last year. So the city keeps growing every year. So yeah, so it's about 1.2 million people right now in Merida, which is awesome. When you compare that to Medellin, where I was living before, right, the population then was more than double. So according to this article that I found online, it says that, well, in 2018, so I was living in Medellin from 2018 to 2020, and the population then was 2.5 million people, right? Now, I'm pretty sure that number is, it has increased a little bit. So let's just say Merida is about half of the population size, even though it doesn't look like it. So probably Merida at its core, it's way less than 1 million. But the thing is, I think they added up Canasin, Uman, and like all these other municipalities just right outside of Merida. But Medellin just seems way more congested. I think that number is probably way more. So it's just, a very small city and not so populated, it's not so congested, and it's very easy to get around. So in my previous video, I mentioned the fact that I live in the middle of the city, so I'm centrally located. So it's very easy for me to get around either on my bicycle or by driving. So yeah, it's very easy for me to get everywhere. Now I go to Central very often because that's where the action is. That's where cultural events, meetings, meetups get together, and just the action, that's where it is. So for me, it's about 10 to 15 minutes bike ride. If I'm lazy I drive, then it's about 10 to 15 minutes. But I prefer biking because I don't have to struggle looking for parking. So reason number one. Now reason number two is that it is close to the coast. It's less than 50 kilometers from the coast, depending on where you live in Merida. So let's say about 40 kilometers from my place to the coast. And there you have so many options, right? To beaches, so many options, right? To the Gulf of the Peninsula, right? The Peninsula Gulf. Now you have the most popular beach is Progreso, because that's like a really tourist town, and you have so many buses going there. But if you have a car or you have access to a car, you have way more options, right? We have Chelem, we have Chicxulub, we have Teochac Puerto, we have Chubuna, we have Celestun, we have Cesal, we have Santa Barbara, we have Zeland de Bravo. Just too many. Too many options. Like the options are just limitless, right? Just too many options for us right here in Yucatan. So especially Merida, right? So you can get to the beach within 20 minutes depending on where you live. So if you are in, let's say in the north, let's say you're in Las Americas, you're in Zitia, even you're in Concal, Cholul, you're like really close to the coast, really close to the peripheral, up north, then within 20 minutes. Also, if you drive really fast, I drive very slow, within 20 minutes you can get there. But coming from Central, you have more traffic lights, too many traffic lights actually. And depending on the time of day, the day of the week, I usually go on a Sunday afternoon, so there aren't too many traffic, so I'm able to just zoom and then within 45 minutes, because again, like I said, I drive very slow, I'm there on the beach. But yeah, it's very close by, you know, to get to the beach. You don't have to plan. Sometimes I'll be like, well, okay, let me go to the beach, and then I just get dressed and I'm there, right, within like an hour or so, right? So I love that about Merida. And number 3 is that Merida is a safe city. It's considered to be the safest city in North America. And when people think about Mexico, they think about all these other negative things that they see on the news. But Merida it's like the opposite of that. So it's very safe. And as a matter of fact, the reason why the city is growing is that you have Mexican nationals who had to move here for safety reasons, right? So you have Mexicans coming from Quintana Roo, from the north of Mexico, to come here to live, to raise family, to raise children, and just to feel safe. Because like, who wants to keep looking over their shoulders, you know, at whatever time of the day, daytime, nighttime? Who wants to feel that way? That's not a good way to live. So you have people moving here, and I just hope and pray that the safety will stay the same as people are moving in, because the locals from Yucatan, they're very respectful. They don't touch anything that doesn't belong to them. Sometimes I've forgotten my cell phone in the basket of my bicycle and I come out and the cell phone is still there, and I'm like, what? Right? So yeah, but then of course, you know, you have to practice safety, because like I said, people are coming in from all parts and they need to hustle, right? So you don't want to be a victim. So the safety reason number 2. Well, reason number 3. Reason number 4 is that the people here are very kind, they're respectful, they love traditions, okay? I love people who respect traditions. They are cultured people, right? They're just, you know, just warm and friendly, respectful, kind. They dress modestly. You know, for some people who move here from other parts of Mexico, they find, you know, the people might be too closed. You know, they don't accept, they call them foráneos, so Mexicans from outside of Yucatan. But for me, I don't mind. Like, they are just gatekeeping their culture. They're just gatekeeping stuff. And I don't mind them. I mean, and I see the reason sometimes, because the foráneos, sometimes the way they talk about the locals, even for me, I don't like it. And I usually try to shut it down anytime someone tries to speak negatively about their host city. Like, these people have allowed you to come into their city to live safely, right? Because that's one of the main reasons why you came here, because it's a safe city, it's a good city, people are respectful, you know, they're not like the people in your city where you had to run away from. So I usually shut it down, like, no. Also, for my intercambios, there are so many locals who come, you know, they're looking to meet people from outside of the country, from other places. They're just looking to expand their circle. So not everybody is closed in and just guarded. Sometimes you have to be a friend to have a friend. That's it. Number 5, right now, for me, as someone who earns in USD, and even though I operate in like several currencies, okay, so sometimes like the math, sometimes like the clash. So it's the affordability of Merida. So I mentioned in a previous video that the reason why I chose to stay here is just the fact that accommodations and just cost of living, very low, very affordable. I'm not gonna use cheap because I believe that is very offensive. And I love to manage my money. I love to manage my money, so I would say economical, right? So low cost apartment and low cost of living. Now, people might complain that apartments are getting ridiculous. So, and I do see in the expat groups people posting about their apartments, 1-bedroom apartment. They're paying like 15,000 pesos, 20,000 pesos for a 2-bedroom apartment. And I'm like, what? Okay. And I'm like, that's like really far from what I'm paying for. But then again, you know, when you see what the apartment looks like and such, you're like, okay, well, I guess this is what they're paying for. But yeah, for me, because I speak Spanish, so I'm able to get Spanish prices. I'm just able to get Spanish prices. But I guess these guys are working with like English speakers who only work with a particular clientele, and they only work within a particular budget range. But me, I'm here to spend pesos, not USD, okay? So yeah, so low cost of living, even though things are getting expensive, they're getting expensive everywhere. But Mexico, they regulate a lot of stuff. They regulate a lot of stuff. So you can't just put crazy prices on your stuff. Like, you can't just do that. But again, some people are just oblivious to what's going on, and because they came from, let's say, the US, whereby, you know, they're earning USD, they're still earning USD, and maybe in the US they might pay $2,000. Now somebody's asking them for $1,000. They're thinking, whoa, it's like 50% cheaper. They pay that, even though the market price for that thing might be $300. But yeah, but they're just paying, you know, like just a ridiculous amount for it. But yeah, so but that's a different topic. But in my opinion, Merida still has very low cost of living, and also for housing and just things in general, if you know where to go, and also if you manage your money and your spending very well, right? Number 6, again, this is my personal experience. So number 6 is that Merida has low rises, right? Compared to Medellin, where I was coming from, where they have so many skyscrapers, tall buildings, apartment buildings everywhere, brown buildings all over the place, traffic congestion, motorcycles, cars, just too many things. Merida, the main reason why I stayed here is just everything looks relaxed and peaceful. So you're gonna find a lot of one-story houses, 2 stories maximum. Now in the north of the city, so like the Montes, for example, like the Montes de Aimi, even Montebello, Atabrisa area, Maya, Colonia Maya, those places are really going through it when it comes to gentrification. So they have high rises for apartment buildings over there. But here where I live in the center of the city, it's like one story, maximum 2 stories. I live in a building, so it's a 2-story, and my whole neighborhood, I believe there are only 2 or 3 2-story apartment buildings in my whole neighborhood, right? So, but for the most part, it's just 1-story buildings, because I live in a very old neighborhood, and back then people only built 1-story. Now they had like a huge piece of land, so you just build your one-story house, you sleep in a hammock. Life was simple back then. There was no need to build all these huge houses. So I live in a very old neighborhood. Now people are rebuilding, so this building, it's a, you know, fairly new building, even though it's in an old neighborhood. But yeah, so very low rises. Another thing is that because of the fewer population, there aren't too many cars on the road. So when it comes to traffic congestion and just stuff like that, it almost doesn't exist in Merida. People might say that, yeah, there is a lot of traffic. So when commuting during rush hour time, yeah, so you might experience that, especially if you have to travel back and forth, like outside of the peripheral. Sometimes you might be stuck in traffic for 20 minutes because the roundabout in the peripheral, oh my gosh, something else. So yeah, so but sometimes they put traffic police there to just, you know, to control traffic, to make sure that people don't get stuck for too long, and also people move in an orderly manner without any accidents if possible, right? But if you live in the city, so for me, I live in, like, you know, I'm centrally located, and I don't, you know, when I go out, I'm on my bike and I'm going to Centro. So the road that I drive on right now, they have traffic lights. They are installing traffic lights, so that is delaying traffic more. Before, you know, you just keep driving, or they have stop signs, right? So you just stop, look to your left, look to your right, keep going. But with the traffic lights, you know, it's delaying travel time, so it's prolonging travel times. Because the reason is because they built a new park called Parque La Plancha in this neighborhood. But I have multiple routes that I take to Centro, either, you know, by bike or while driving. So I'm able to really avoid those places that might make my commute a little bit longer. But yeah, Merida, for me, you know, I've lived in Beijing, China. I've been to Lagos, Nigeria, and Medellin, Bogota. Like, the traffic here is nothing. It's nothing. And also, I mean, they have back roads, so you can always go through the back roads, and you don't even have to deal with, heavy traffic. So that would be reason number 6, just low rises, fewer cars, and almost no traffic congestion from my own point of view. If you live somewhere else and you commute during rush hour time, that might be something different. But most expatriates, they work from home, so they don't even have to deal with that. They just organize their appointments outside of the rush hour time, so they don't get stuck in traffic. Even still, like most roads, only the major roads might experience a little bit more traffic, and it's not a big deal compared to places like, let's say, Mexico City, where Monday to Sunday there's always huge traffic everywhere. And reason number 7 is that Merida, just the state of Yucatan, even Mexico in general, has a rich history, right? And that they've been able to preserve over the centuries, right? Like they really preserve their history, both the good and the bad, right? And the okay ones, right? So they've been able to preserve it and, just to pass it down generation to generation. Now here in Yucatan, we have hundreds of cenotes that are open to the public, even though there are thousands of them. But hundreds of cenotes open to the public. They have archaeological sites, so like with pyramid ruins. They have haciendas. So haciendas were like plantations. Plantations were like the Mayans were subjected to forced labor in order to make the Europeans wealthy. So they have the haciendas. They have many beautiful beaches, right? And they have, in Mexico, they have something called magical towns, Pueblo Mágicos. So usually those Pueblo Mágicos, they have, rich history that, again, they're trying to promote. And also it's a way to bring people to those towns to spend money, so that the people in those towns and surrounding villages, they won't have to go out to make money. So it's a way to also, control population. So, and recently I went, just yesterday actually, I went with some friends to a town called Mani, Yucatan, and this is where Diego Landa, so he was a bishop, a Franciscan. He burned many artifacts of the Mayans. I'm talking about codices, which has, written history about science. So the Mayans, they knew about astrology, they knew about earth and its forms, and also spiritual aspects. He persecuted thousands and thousands and thousands of many Mayans, and he pretty much erased their history within a few hours. So Mani, Yucatan has such a history. So, and it was recently declared a magical town in 2020, December 2020. So many opportunities to just go for road trips whenever you get bored of Merida. And reason number 8 is that there is an active and thriving expat community here in Merida. So I've met a few, let's say, immigrants, let me call them immigrants, like myself, who, they love the fact that there are so many Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups, where they can exchange ideas, ask for information, recommendations, referrals for so many things, right? Like plumber, nannies, where to put their kids to school, doctors, medical professionals, beauty professionals, just, people exchanging ideas. And in these expat groups, it's not just expat, you also have locals on there as well. So the locals might be other Mexicans who used to live outside of Mexico, or who moved into Merida from other parts of Mexico. So, there's an active and thriving expat community here, and they're always putting on events. So sometimes they have like different groups for different people from different countries. So I believe there is like a Korean community, there's like French community, German community, of course, African American community. We don't have an African community yet, because I think there's like 5 of us, who knows. Living in Merida. Italian community, Colombian community. So just, they have their own community where, again, they, share information and just, just try to update each other and on stuff to know about whenever there are changes that might, that you need to know about. So for example, the temporary residency information, I found out about it in one of the expat groups where people were talking about it, and then I was referred to a lawyer through one of those expat groups. So it's always good to be involved. I know sometimes when people move from their country to another country, they just want to shut everybody out. They only want to make friends with the locals. But I'll say, like, humble yourself and just get involved in those community. You don't have to hang out with those people all the time, but it's always good to just be in the know whenever there's anything going on that you need to be aware of as a foreigner, or even as a, you know, whatever nationality. So there might be some program for, let's say, Chinese living in Mexico that you might need to know about, all right, or for Americans living in Mexico that you need to be aware of. And the only way to know about that, or the best way to know about that, will be, you know, through these active communities. But then sometimes, you know, you have drama, but you just need to know how to filter out stuff so that you can get to, you know, what you're looking for. Now, reaching up an eye is very important for me, because living in Colombia, it was a little bit different. And that is that there are local Mexicans looking to make friends with non-Mexicans. I think one of the reasons is because that, you know, the culture here, it's very exclusive, right? So, and you know, there are so many things that they talk about. So when, let's say, someone who moves from Mexico City, they move here to Merida, they speak English, though they're looking to improve their English or improve their French or whatever. Then they would join, you know, WhatsApp groups or Facebook groups with expats, right? So that they can meet other expats, practice their English, and just make friends with them. So I love the fact that the locals here are really looking to invite people into their circles, right? To me, that's very good. And also, you know, you can feel safe knowing that it's not transactional, and also, you know, it's a mutually beneficial friendship or relationship, right? So I really love that about living here in Merida. Like, sometimes I'll put on events and I get a lot of locals, like Mexicans, or just, I mean, it's awesome. It is just, it's amazing, in my opinion. Reason number 10 is that here in Merida, so it's still growing. Like I said, it's growing because you have people moving into Yucatan. So they're always looking for something to do, especially if it's something that they are used to from where they are coming from. Is that there are so many opportunities to start something, to start an initiative, for profit, not for profit, for fun, leisure, what have you. There are so many opportunities here to start something. So I do run a language exchange group. I host single events. I host ladies brunches. I organize road trips with friends. I put on like networking of some sort. So there's just so many things to do, right? So many things to do here. You just have to take that initiative instead of waiting and hoping for somebody to start something, because most people, they don't want to take on that responsibility. So yeah, so here in Merida, people are always looking for stuff to do, because sometimes people who move here complain about the fact that it's boring. Like, if it's boring, go start your own fun and invite us in, instead of waiting for someone to start something and invite you in. Like, if it's boring, okay, so what do you like to do? Okay, can you set something up and then we'll join you, right? So many opportunities, right, to start initiatives here in Merida. And the last and the bonus, so it's actually 11 reasons now. My bonus reason, the 11th reason why I love living here in Merida, the pros of living here in Merida, is that Merida has a huge budget for fun. When it comes to entertainment, having fun, this city has money. I don't know where that money comes from, because there are so many other things they can be spending their money on. But when it comes to tourism, they don't joke. Like, they don't joke when it comes to tourism. They don't play. Like, and as a matter of fact, one of my neighbors, she works for the tourism board of Yucatan. And she moved here from somewhere else in Mexico City. From somewhere else in Mexico. I can't remember where exactly. Like, Merida, they don't joke. They have so many free events. Almost every month, they have large, huge public events where they invite international, you know, entertainers in. For me, I feel a little bit iffy about that, because I'm thinking, well, I mean, like, you guys have so many local talents, local artists in the whole state of Yucatan or the peninsula or even in Mexico. Sometimes they do have local artists from Yucatan and also from Mexico, but I guess to bring people in to really hype it up, then they bring people in from outside of the country. Even though these events are free, so it doesn't matter if they're like locals or what, people are still gonna come anyway. So, but yeah, so every month almost they have something going on that's publicly available to people, like, you know, rich, poor, or whatever. You have free entertainment, like world-class entertainment. And also every week they have activities going on from Monday to Saturday. Yeah, from Monday to Saturday. Sunday, you know, actually, yeah, so from Sunday to Saturday, from Monday to Sunday, they have stuff going on. Like Sunday they have something called BC Ruta. Monday they have something called Vaqueria. Tuesday they have Danza de Santiago, I believe. Wednesday, I can't remember stuff, but I'll probably create a different video. Thursday, they have Serenata, I believe, in Santa Lucia. Friday, they have like Poke the Pook or something, and then video mapping. And then Saturdays, they have Noche Mexicana and something else. So, and then they have free walking tour and such, right? You just pay them a tip. So, like, Sunday to Saturday, there's like stuff to do. There's stuff to do. And as a matter of fact, sometimes when, you know, you have people who come into Merida for a few weeks or a few months, sometimes after 1 month, they're like, you know what, guys, I need to take a break. This weekend, I have to stay home because I've been going out every single day this week or this past month. I need to stay in, save some money, and just, you know, relax and just regroup myself, because there's just too much going on in the city. So I really love that, because when I was living in Medellin, sometimes I'll feel bored because I'm thinking, well, like, why is the government not putting on any cultural event? Now, sometimes we'll have like some concerts and such and some activities, but it's not like a daily activity like here in Merida, whereby there's like some sort of a cultural event that promotes the city of Merida. It promotes the state of Yucatan. It promotes the Mayan culture and history, and it also promotes Mexico as a country. So, like I said, on Saturday night, they have something called Noche Mexicana. So they have dance performances from different parts of the country, from different states. So really, they are promoting their culture and history, right? So I really love that. So it's like, it's really hard to get bored, right? Sometimes, yeah, I do get bored, but then it's because, well, I'm kind of lazy. But like, so many things to do here. So when people talk about being bored or they don't have stuff to do, it's like, well, there are so many groups you just need to know. Sometimes that might mean being involved in too many WhatsApp groups. Just mute every one of them, because people are always promoting their events whenever they have something going on. Just being a friend. If you want to have a friend, you have to be a friend. So guys, that's pretty much it. Those are my 11 pros actually of living here in Merida, and why I love living here and why I'm still here after 3 years, and we'll see how long I'm still gonna be here for. Now in my next video, I will create another video about the cons of living here, because, well, it's not rosy and dandy all the time, but yeah, but still I believe the pros outweighs the cons. But yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.